Hello, good evening. This is High Priestess Jamila. Thank you, Goddess. I wanted to say that first of all. I hadn't said that today yet. So I'm having as good a Friday as I could, being that I am single. And I actually really dislike being single. Um, I really, really do. It actually really sucks really bad, especially when you feel like the past several years, you haven't really done the responsible thing with your social life. For example, um, instead of, maybe possibly being responsible, trying to meet other people, maybe perhaps you've been stuck on a situation that you should perhaps move on from, possibly. Good evening, Josiah. So, I want to talk about this, okay? Marijuana, weed, bud. They call it all kind of words. I think that's all they call it. Weed, bud, marijuana. Does it actually make people too paranoid sometimes? Can weed or is weed actually Josiah said go in. Does weed actually make you or make people or some people way too paranoid? Is the question that I wanted to ask. And I guess it would depend. Okay, so Josiah said medicinal. Does it depend on the strain that you buy? And if you are purchasing it on the streets, should you at least inquire about the strand or the strain that you're smoking? Should you ask about that strain? Because I believe that, first of all, if you already have issues with trust, if you already have issues and you're smoking weed, I think that it can make it worse. I think that a person has to really be on a certain frequency to smoke bud. I really do. Like, and I've noticed that it's not good to smoke around certain people because certain people can increase paranoid or either delusional thoughts, fears that don't make no sense. And is marijuana messing some people up? Is everybody's mind able to handle it? And if you are a person that avoids issues, if you're a person that avoids issues, because people smoke marijuana for different reasons. There are some people that when they smoke, they're able to tap in to their subconscious mind or either their own conscious mind. But if you are a person that possibly has issues already with your own mind, is it possible for you to smoke weed and become extremely paranoid and then even sometimes delusional? Are people actually paying attention to these strains that they're smoking? And I don't even think it has anything to do with the strain. Although if you get it, if you're buying it from a legal state, you'll be able to kind of moderate, how the marijuana might make you feel. However, different stuff has different effects on different people. I'm wondering if smoking marijuana is good for people who already are kind of too in their head. You know what I'm saying? Okay, yeah. Yeah, Mary Jane 420. I do believe that people need to start smoking the smoking marijuana that makes them relax, as opposed to getting them like riled up. Yeah, and sativa is definitely very different from indica. I've noticed people being paranoid, just completely paranoid, if they either smoke too much or depending on what they're already thinking about. Something that may already be on their mind could be exacerbated if they are smoking. Yeah, I think people need to be careful. um, you know, mhm. Yeah, yeah, I agree. I agree that because I believe that I have seen people smoke and they're just so paranoid that it's difficult to even deal with them because they're smoking and they're paranoid, and it's like these things that they believe are going on are not actually real. You know what I'm saying? Smoking marijuana does not help you escape anything. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people, I guess they do it because they feel like they want to be altered. They feel like they want to escape. But marijuana doesn't do that for people. It doesn't. It doesn't do that. Marijuana doesn't help you escape anything. If anything, it can help you relax. But if you already got a bunch of stuff on your mind, it could actually make you a lot more hyped up. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, yeah. I agree. I agree, Mary Jane 420, because I have seen some of these men out here, especially. I think it's worse on men. I think it's worse on them. Hold on. Hold on. Okay. No, it won't. And I think that if you're a person that avoids certain stuff, like if you're not a person that is really good at working out the things that you're thinking about or whatever's on your mind, I think that it can sometimes make it worse. And then that's when you're not having fun anymore. When you're smoking, oh, hold on. So I don't know, y'all. I know that I think that it takes, like, first of all, second of all, it also takes an environment that is not stressful either. I think that people that smoke marijuana should not be in an environment that's creating too much stress for them. Because I remember when I used to smoke years ago, like all of a sudden, it just seemed like I could not be around my mother. It was like she would just do everything to like everything that she did made me paranoid. Everything that she did. And I think that because it's so weird, like it's very weird when people blame how you feel on marijuana, but then when you realize, well, no, I wasn't paranoid all those years, like, you know what I'm saying? But like, for example, like there's certain people that I wouldn't be able to smoke anything around because they would just, have this off-putting vibe about them. You know what I'm saying? So I do think that some people can make it worse. I think that some people make people paranoid, period, about everything. I think if you're smoking weed, it's going to heighten. that paranoia, and then even just downright delusions that don't even exist. You know what I'm saying? Like, um, you have to you have to pretty much be a mastermind to smoke weed. You can't just sit and smoke weed and you ain't got your mind right. People that smoke marijuana and they don't have their mind right totally mess them up. Totally mess them up to where, it'll be things like, I've noticed some people that marijuana makes them more paranoid, is that things that don't actually exist all of a sudden begin to exist. And it's not even real. It's like, no, that's actually a paranoid delusion. I think people need to start paying more attention to that. I know that a lot of people see smoking marijuana as being harmless, but I think it actually does make some people paranoid. I've noticed that on a couple of people, just being extremely paranoid about things that don't exist. And just, if it has that effect on you, because I've actually heard of people developing schizophrenia, like symptoms of schizophrenia when they smoke weed. And I think that if it's making you do that, I think that you need to pay attention to what's going on with that. I feel like you shouldn't ignore that just because smoking weed is trendy. I think if it's having an effect on you to where you're not able to relax, or to where literally you're making up these delusions about people. And I think that if you are sort of delusional when you're smoking it, I think that you need to at least acknowledge that, okay, maybe this marijuana is making me paranoid about things that don't even exist. I'm serious, because I have seen it so many times, and some people don't need to smoke weed. Some people stop smoking weed. You shouldn't even be smoking it, because a lot of people will smoke it and they will just completely and totally, all of a sudden, they can't trust nobody. Everybody on the outside world is bad. There's something going on. Something's eating at them. Something's going on, when in reality, it could be that you probably need to, at least stop for a while so that you can take control over your own mind. Now, for me, if I smoked it, I'm very good at controlling my own mind. I am. If I were to smoke, it wouldn't bother me because I have control over my own mind. But some people don't have control over their own mind. Some people, marijuana just kind of leads them into this very lonely place where, they can only trust certain people. And then the people around them, they barely even trust them. If that's what it's doing to you, I guess it may have something to do with your brain chemistry, you know, that maybe you shouldn't smoke if that's what it's doing to you. Because I've seen it do it to a lot of people. I've seen people like, and some people just, I don't know what it is, but it's a lot of people out there that need to quit smoking weed. That's what I will tell you. People need to quit smoking, because it just makes you look crazy. Because it's just, and I really do think that it does cause some people, like, to go into a psychosis. Long term psychosis is too. I'm not talking about short term where you may just think something, and you may let it pass. It's like, oh, okay, well, I was thinking something like that, but then I realized that was impossible for that to be a reality. But some people just can't get past it. Some people will stay in a paranoid psychosis for months or even years. And that was one of the things that they warned people about wacky tobacco. They warned people about wacko tobacco back in the day, like during the 60s and 70s, when like it would send people into these psychoses. And the things that they would just do, it's weird. And you can usually tell somebody that has smoked a little bit too much. And if you are a person Like nobody should be smoking marijuana that cannot control their own mind or their own thoughts. I think people that smoke it, you need to have control over your, because it is a gateway drug. How is it a gateway drug? Because it opens up your mind to other things. Literally sometimes it can open up your mind. It can open up portals. It can make you think about certain things that you probably wouldn't think about. And I also think that marijuana allows spirits around you to sometimes get in. And people need to realize that, especially if you're a medium or either you are possibly very empathic, you got to be careful with smoking it because all of a sudden, everything is a war. Everything is a war on whether or not you are exposing somebody or not exposing somebody, but it's kind of like you're just waiting for something that's a paranoid delusion to be exposed that doesn't actually exist. Yeah, I'm definitely a mastermind. I can tell whenever somebody's doing work on me though, like marijuana really, like I can't people that generally are those kind of tedious type of people that are very edgy, it's kind of difficult for me to, like I said, I think that you have to be in a certain frame of mind before you're even able to smoke. But I think that marijuana can sometimes, depending on your experiences while you're on it, it can definitely sometimes make you paranoid and have you convinced of things that don't even exist. So be careful. Like if you're smoking marijuana, you still have to know what's real and what's not real. Because some people literally get it confused and they can go into these psychoses. And then, especially if you're trying to deal with people that you can't trust, then all of a sudden you can't trust nobody. And I think that it heightens that. Some of these men out here, they don't need to smoke weed because what it does is it just makes them extremely paranoid and delusional. And then you wonder where all those delusions come from. Delusions that don't even make sense. You know what I'm saying? Y'all be careful out there because, especially when you're not paying attention to what strains can cause more paranoia than others. People need to be careful. You have to be able to, I ain't even gonna lie, marijuana to me, I feel like it opens you up to spirits. I really do. I think that it opens you up to certain dimensions in your mind, and you have to be able to have control over your thoughts. As scary as this sounds, there's a lot of people that can't control their thoughts. And it's important to be able to control your own mind and control your own thoughts. It is. Because if you are a person that's smoking, it could potentially drive you crazy to where you need to go sit down for a couple of months and let that get up out of your system. Because I think that marijuana works with some people's body chemistry or either their nervous system in different ways. It can work on you in different ways to the point where, you may be thinking something and you may be totally in some kind of delusion. I have seen people that will think something that don't even exist. And those people do smoke weed. Oh, you're doing something to me. I've got to fight with you. It's a war. No, actually, I was just trying to relax. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, smoking weed is kind of like trendy. It's trendy. If you don't actually like, okay, marijuana has been used by various spiritual people for different reasons. Okay. So if you're just smoking marijuana just because you want to get high, if you're just smoking marijuana because you want to escape, you may not really understand the frequency of marijuana, which is why when somebody when some people smoke marijuana, they go totally into full-fledged, I'm paranoid, I'm dying, I'm having an anxiety attack. Cause some people, marijuana gives them really bad anxiety and they cannot smoke it at all. Like they tried it, but they just can't smoke it because it takes their mind to a place to where you're almost like facing all of these demons. But some people are dealing with these demons, but not in a way to where they actually control it. And I think that's why the world is went kind of crazier, because more people have had access to marijuana legally. And then all of a sudden, it's too stressful. Like if smoking marijuana has become stressful for you in some kind of way, to where when you smoke it, you feel stressed out, you feel burdened, you feel like you want to argue and fight with people, probably shouldn't smoke it. Okay. If all of a sudden you're smoking marijuana and a delusion comes out, like I'm talking about an actual delusion that when you think about it couldn't possibly be anything real, but because you're smoking, you believe that it's real. That's why with some of my clients, I call them patients sometimes. Some of my clients, I ask them if they smoke, because it could make a totally big difference between what kind of client that person is going to be. Okay. And sometimes when you smoke, you have to consider that this is, even though it's a plant, still a mind altering drug. Okay. And I think that people can also be in denial about being paranoid when they really are. Oh, I've got to eliminate this person from my life because they're doing this. And I don't want this other person around because they're doing this. When in reality, that weed is just making you paranoid. For real. To the point where everybody hating and everybody wants to hate on this thing that you're doing, which really nobody actually cares about. Nobody's sitting around going, oh, I hope that this doesn't happen for this person, unless they have a reason to. Otherwise, sometimes you can be creating problems with people and they don't even be thinking about stuff like that. Y'all ever talk to somebody that smoke weed and they got this, delusion in their head about you that's not the truth? And sometimes you just care about a person, you just care, and you just don't want to just like walk away from that person because you give a shit about them, but they smoke too damn much. Like, personally, marijuana is supposed to be a spice. You're not supposed to like use too much of it. People that use too much are the people that I've noticed are the worst at that. They're the worst at smoking weed because first of all, you smoking too much because you want to actually escape your environment. You don't actually really like where you're at. So you smoke all day, every day. Like if a person just sat around me and smoked weed all day, every day, I would be concerned. I would be concerned. I would be like, well, damn, do you even want to be here? Like, why you always and that's why I like, a lot of times I like to be around people when I'm not drinking or when I'm not smoking. How much do we actually enjoy each other's company if we got to be drunk and high all the time? How much? How much could you possibly enjoy a person's company actually? And why would a person need to have drugs or alcohol to enjoy themselves? You don't necessarily have to have drugs or alcohol to enjoy yourself. Okay. Yeah, I think people should start paying attention to that. When a drug or either a substance is affecting your relationships with people, I think that you should pay attention. I think people should pay attention. For me, I'm a lightweight, so for me, I just, just a little, just like, a little something, something, and then bam, and then I'm cool, I'm chilling and relaxing. But for me to have to be dead drunk, like a lot of the people that I hung around with. Now I want to talk about drinking a little bit too. A lot of the people that I hung around with that I had to get drunk around, why do I have to be drunk around this person just to even want to be around them? I understand that it's kind of like this thing to where maybe you feel like wine relaxes you or liquor relaxes you, but what are you really saying to what does that really mean when you have to be drunk around people or you have to drink or you get around people? I think it could be a person with social anxiety too. I think that people with social anxiety have a tendency to possibly have to drink more when they are around people. Okay, like they have to do it just to relax themselves. But I think that like I don't want to be around people that I gotta always be drunk or high or altered around you. Like I wanna be able to be around people and just be kind of sober. You know what I'm saying? And I think that people that are paranoid off of marijuana, you're definitely not sober. You're in a psychosis. You believe that these things are real that are not real. And typically, when you smoke marijuana, it can possibly make you think more about these paranoid delusional thoughts that ain't even there. So if it's affecting you like that, then it's what I believe that it is that it's underlying spirits. Y'all know I don't really believe in mentally ill, so to speak. Okay, I'm a spiritualist. But I think that sometimes it like if you smoke and you get like weird, I feel like these are spirits that were already there, or even thoughts or even situations that your mind should be able to work out. But for some reason, you're not able to work that out in your mind, whether or not you smoking or not. And you gotta like seriously be careful with that. And they say that marijuana is a loner drug, and you don't want like I do think that some people do need to take some time alone. But I feel that if you're smoking marijuana and everybody on the outside is against you, something is happening. They're just something's going on with them. And because I've seen people smoke marijuana and go and say something, and they'll be like, and this is what my intuition told me. No, that's what your paranoid delusions told you. Some people, like, I'm gonna tell you something, being a psychic or having intuition makes smoking weed a totally different experience. If you can't decipher what's real from what's not real, there's a problem. There's a serious problem. I think some people need to quit smoking or they either need to cut back. But the only way they're going to cut back is if they deal with those demons that they're trying to escape from. You know what I'm saying? And I like I'm really into the people that I have relationships with, like the people that are around me. I want to like connect with them. I wouldn't want to be in a state of existence to where, I'm trying to escape real life. Like nobody should be using marijuana for that purpose. It's supposed to be a spice. It's supposed to add to it. If you're doing any drug, especially marijuana, if you're doing it to like literally escape reality because you really don't like the reality that you live in every single day, that ain't gonna change nothing. That ain't, and that's why I was saying some people can handle smoking it and some people can't. And people can see people know when you are too high and you just keep smoking and keep smoking and keep smoking, and you've got these paranoias that don't exist to the point where you are accusing people of things that never existed, paranoid about things that people might do to you that they're not even thinking about doing to you. People need to be careful. And marijuana, to me, I feel like it's like I feel that marijuana is acceptable to be illegal everywhere personally, but I just think that it's the people that do have those paranoid delusions, people that are already kind of, on edge. I feel like those people should not smoke because when they do smoke, anything can become a reality to them, even the most horrible thing. And then the next thing you know, you thinking that the people around you are doing this horrible stuff to you and they're not. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. And because and I'm real careful about, I think it's very different for men. Like I think that if I dealt with a male that smoked marijuana, he would literally have to have his mind together. Otherwise, that area of the brain that processes reality from fiction ain't gonna work very well. And it really honestly, when the day comes to where everybody around you can't trust, like that's the day you need to take a look at yourself and say, you know what, let me quit smoking for a minute, let me quit smoking weed for a minute, okay, so I can get my head together. Hmm. That's exactly what happened. That's exactly what happened, man. For real, people can get pretty hysterical when they're on marijuana. And then it's also connected to the imagination and then your subconscious and then everything that you may have experienced could, and I think that also people that are very introvert, if you smoke marijuana and you're very introvert and you're not a person that likes to express yourself and how you feel, that would make it worse because you're not able to say to people like, hey, I was feeling like this, and it can't just be on a normal capacity. It's almost like my mind told me that you're doing that and that's it. And it's like, well, I can tell you 100% that you're 100% wrong. I don't know what to tell you. That's crazy. Next thing you know, you driving back and forth, hiding behind bushes, you doing detective work with and you watching folks, and it ain't literally, it ain't nothing going on. It's like, are you kidding me? I've seen people do that. It's just it's weird. And they'll be in their own little world. And then all of a sudden everybody is doing something, or either you did something. The accusations that people that are on marijuana make about other people is kind of weird. So just be careful. I feel like everybody should have control over their own mind. But I think that if you have that problem, marijuana ain't gonna do nothing but make it worse. I believe personally, and I know that they have these retreats and stuff that will help people. And they do like, they'll give them either some mushrooms or some marijuana. I feel like if you're a person that all of a sudden, like, I think marijuana can be helpful also, though. I think it can be helpful. I think that a person that has these subconscious thoughts or memories that they may need to talk about. And if they smoke marijuana and all of a sudden they feel fearful, okay, or they feel like, oh my God, this is giving me anxiety, that's actually paranoia, right? The anxiety that you're feeling based upon that is the effect of the, I guess, something in the weed that's making you feel that anxiety. I feel that people to wait the way you master your own mind is that you should actually face that fear, but you shouldn't face it in a way because it doesn't exist. It's you're just paranoid. It doesn't exist. You should figure out what in the world is going on that's making you think that way. You are funny. Who is he? Who is he? You are funny. You are so funny. Are you talking about the invisible man that doesn't exist? This invisible man. No, man. Yeah, I can assure you that spirits are real, ghosts are real. Everything that I talk about is real, but I think that if you don't have control over your own mind, that would be just like being a medium and dealing with spirits, but then not being able to control it. I think that marijuana opens up an area in the brain where you are either going to see things that are there or not there. For real. Anybody? No, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? It's so weird. Like if you smoke weed and you're constantly trying to catch somebody, like if the people around you are like, God, why are you always trying to catch me doing something that don't even exist? And then everything is proof or evidence. You know what I'm saying? That's just like the other day. I ain't even gonna talk about that. That's too much. But be careful with smoking weed and alienating yourself from the people in your life to the point where you don't trust them or they're doing something, and when people start telling you, hey, you're kind of paranoid, like literally there's nothing going on, and sometimes y'all are paranoid with good reason. What? I wouldn't go that far as to say that it's the devil's herb. I wouldn't go that far, okay? I'm keeping it real with you, but I feel like especially if you like a if you got some stuff in your mind that you need to work out, and these things are obviously, that's just like if you love somebody and you smoke marijuana and then all of a sudden they don't love you. It's like, really? I don't love you? What about all of that shit that I went through for you? That means that I don't love you? So I went through all of those things not because I love you, but because I don't love you. It is somebody in the bushes. No, they not in the bushes, but y'all know what I'm talking about, man. It's like, man, why you so paranoid though, man? Like, what is going on? Don't be that guy to where people be going through shit for you, and then all of a sudden, when you don't love me, I don't. All of a sudden, you don't love that person at all, and it's like, How many blunts have you smoked today, honey? How many blunts have you smoked? Because I can assure you that I do love you, and that you're tripping. No, the cannabinoids told me that you don't love me. What? Oh wow. Wow. See, that was a spirit. That was not induced by marijuana. That was a spirit that did that. There's no way marijuana, like I could see that happening though. I could definitely, I could, because, but see, anxiety can do that. You can have a person that's doing that anyway, and they don't even have to smoke weed. That's just like some people, they may have anxiety and they may feel like, oh my God, if I go there, something like that gonna happen, or if I do this, something like that gonna happen. So I think that marijuana pretty much enhances what's already going on in your head. But I'm sorry for your loss. I'm sorry for your loss though. Seriously, that's gotta be hard. But I don't think that marijuana had anything to do with it, honestly. I think that that was just, I don't know, like that's so weird. I have never heard of marijuana actually harming a person, but I think that you can overdose on it. And I think that if you do too much, you can overdose. You can actually have marijuana hangovers, to where you may be headachy, you may be feeling a little detached from your body, detached from yourself. I think that it definitely can bring about some symptoms if you do too much. Like you should only be using a very, very small amount. That's what I'm saying. I think that it was a demon personally. And I think that the marijuana probably exactly, because I be seeing people all the time that just need enlightenment, or either they need an exorcism. So your sister may have just needed an exorcism. Pazuzu. I've never heard of Pazuzu. I'll have to look that up. Yeah, I bet I'm so sorry for your loss. That's got to be difficult because I know that there are some people that can be extremely sensitive to certain things, and I don't know why, but there's some people that just like, I'm not a triggering type of person to that capacity. Like, I feel like if you're going to trigger somebody, you should trigger somebody for good. You shouldn't trigger somebody for negativity or bad stuff. But I honestly feel that there are some times you have to really look out for people, because people that smoke marijuana can be in their own little personal hell that doesn't even exist. And it's like all of a sudden, nobody loves them. Everybody's out to get them. You don't love me. I've actually seen that happen. I've actually had clients come to me and say that to me, like, and I'm like, you are paranoid. There's something that's making you paranoid, for real. Oh wow. 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 Well, I'm gonna tell you that they do demonize, it's just a scary movie. The Exorcist is just a scary movie. You know what I'm saying? I like scary movies though. I think it helps you face your fears. I think scary movies can really help people work out their fears sometimes. Sometimes I like to really get into a movie, but sometimes I be getting into these movies too much, and like too much stress or too much strain. Like if I can't imagine smoking marijuana when I'm under any kind of stress. Like I wouldn't, like, what's the point? I would rather be, that's just like if you drink alcohol and you're already going through changes, that those spirits in that alcohol might make it worse. People that don't have control over their own spirits probably, really, really need to be careful. And you got to be in a grounding environment. Like, I think that people can experience worse stuff if they're in an environment that is not conducive to them being like just grounded. And you can tell people that are not grounded, like where you at, you not grounded, like your mind is all over the place to the point where these things that you think exist actually don't exist. Okay. Now, if everything is dying around you and you losing money and you losing everything, then obviously you're not being paranoid. Something clearly is playing out. You know what I'm saying? Something clearly is going on to where, you know what I'm saying? Like if a person says, "Oh, I think somebody hexed my money," but then 2 days later you get like $5,000, you know what I'm saying? Then obviously somebody didn't hex your money. You know what I'm saying? But if you don't get $5,000 or if you don't get money like that next day, or if your money just stop and then all of a sudden you about to be evicted and the lights is being turned off, like, yeah, you're definitely not being paranoid. Like something is definitely messing up your life, something, because you may have a mindset to where you want something. See, when it comes to manifesting, you can only manifest so much with sheer desire. The rest of it is going to take brain power. Because I'm going to tell y'all something, when it comes to the work that I do, and I tell all of my clients this, don't think about it. When you just sit, okay, let's say that you do a spell and you just sit and you focus on that spell. Like it's the difference between actively being focused on spell work and actually having that visual in your foresight, knowing that it's going to come to you, knowing that it's going to happen. There's a difference between that and you sitting there just thinking about it, thinking about it, thinking about it, thinking about it, and you just thinking about it. Like it's best to get your mind off of it, like totally switch your mind up. You know what I'm saying? I noticed that, when I'm able to focus on something else, or I'm able to focus on the things that I enjoy. Otherwise, I actually gauge myself a lot. I gauge myself a lot. Like whenever I do any kind of spell work, if I feel like something ain't right, or if that spell work ain't gonna work, then I pay attention. Because an effective ritual or spell, it's gonna work. It's gonna work, and you're not gonna sit and worry about it. You know what I'm saying? Oh wow. That's interesting, Pazuzu's love. That's interesting. Would you like for me to drop the link for you to come on here and talk about this situation? I didn't know. So that little statue, like that statue of that demon that they showed standing behind Reagan, that's Pazuzu. I think I've actually heard of that. That's considered to be the devil, though, right? Pazuzu is considered to be the devil. I totally have no problem talking to people that, might work with other deities because I trust in my spirits. You know what I'm saying? Trust goes a long way. But at the end of the day, you got to watch out for some people's intent. Okay. For real. Hmm. Okay. Oh, well, see, I work with Yemiya and Alakun, and I also do work with Lord Ganesha and Lakshmi as well. But like, I've been working with Yemiya. I love what she does. I swear to y'all. I love what she does, man. I worked with Laura Ganesha and Lakshmi for a really, really long time, and Yemi Ya really doesn't like that. She actually wants me to work exclusively with her, but I can tell you that, she's very powerful. Her husband is very powerful too. So, oh, okay. I guess it would just depend on a person's experience though, but I feel like at the end of the day, no matter who you working with, like if you are fearful or scared, I feel like you should face those fears. And if you are a person that is taking mind altering substances, I think that you should be responsible for your own mind. If you're not able to be responsible with your own mind, then more than likely you may have spirits around you that are, you know what I'm saying, making you think. And you know how spirits, it's not about it being a ghost or nothing, but being in good spirits means, okay, I'm in good spirits. If you're a person that can't be in good spirits, and you're constantly throwing accusations at people, and they doing this and they doing that, and it's a very different experience than being able to maybe have a drink, maybe have a puffy puff here and there, and you just chilling and relaxing. It's a very big difference. And I think that people that smoke weed, I think that they could be more prone to black magic. Now I could tell you that you could possibly be more prone to it if you are not in control of your own mind. And that's just real talk. Some people don't need to smoke until they get control over their mind. For real. Seriously. Like, and smoking marijuana is supposed to be more so a spiritual experience. It's supposed to be a spiritual experience. It's supposed to um it's not supposed to be something that is supposed to make you angry or paranoid or this, but I feel like if you keep smoking it, the least that you should be able to do is to conquer a lot of those fears that marijuana is bringing to the surface, because marijuana will bring your fears to the surface. It will. And depending on how good your imagination is, because some people have a very good imagination, and it's very good to use those powers. And see, that's why a lot of people are afraid, because you could imagine something really negative happening. But I think that I feel like it can be counterproductive in what it is that you're trying to do. So just take heed to that, and take heed to the fact that if any substance is causing your quality of life to go down to the point where everybody's out to get you. Because I've had to sit and talk to people and say, okay, I can see this person. I mean, I'm going to always find in your readings people that you can't trust. I'm going to always find that. But I think that a lot of the times when people think, like, like for you to think that somebody is just out to get you, and they've went through all of these, they've literally fought and battled all of your demons to get to you, and you're just like this paranoid person that's just like, oh, you don't really, I think that a general overall, that's a person that's like the Four of Cups. Like, you just have a problem with appreciating people. I'm sorry. Because anytime somebody is willing to go through the fire for you, and you just assume that that person is just a bad person, something else could possibly be making that a reality for you, but this is a reality that doesn't exist. Because I don't care what you do, smoking marijuana, drinking alcohol, man, that that's not gonna make that loneliness go away. You know what I'm saying? That's not gonna make things better necessarily. I think that when it gets to that point, I think that it's time for you to just say, okay, I'm hurting the people around me. Like I'm actually causing these people to suffer because I choose to do these substances that are actually having an adverse effect on my well-being. You know what I'm saying? Feel like Weaver said, is he like Ishtar? Is he like Ish? Are you talking about Pazuzu? I don't know anything about that, but what I will tell you is that people should work with who they want to work with. I don't agree with telling people, who they should work with because I feel like it's all in the game of life. You know what I'm saying? It's all about learning and growing. Some people you can't tell them nothing. You have to just let them learn on their own. You do. Okay, because some people you can talk to them until you blue in the face, and your lips be turning blue and purple. You be running out of oxygen. To where you just be talking and talking and talking. But you just that person until they're able to accept it, or until they're you know what I'm saying. That's just what you're gonna be dealing with. But I've noticed that some people that smoke weed, they all of a sudden everybody is a hater and everybody is trying to do something to them. And it's like, no, yeah. And I've seen people like be careful that these substances that you're doing ain't causing you to hurt the people around you or the people that are in your life. For real. Oh. Mm. I didn't even know that the name was Pazuzu, though. That's interesting. So just be careful with smoking, man. Make sure that you find out, like, if you're purchasing marijuana, ask them what's the strain so that you can look it up. Because I think some of these people do not need to touch sativas. They need to stay away from the sativas, stay away from the sativas. And I noticed that, especially when it comes to the marijuana that's on the street, it's kind of difficult to find any kind of indica. Some people need indica. You don't need that because that ain't doing nothing but driving you crazy. And I've seen people actually smoke straight sativa. Like there's videos on here to where they will literally just go into like this trance state. And it's almost like there's something that they are dealing with. Like you can tell that it's something that they dealing with. And I think that so now their marijuana to me is more so an earth. It comes from the earth. I believe that some of these other higher drugs, though, like like crack cocaine, like you're literally beaming up to an alien. That's an alien that you're communicating with. It's an alien. It's some kind of something that's out of this world. Oh, see, yeah, I wouldn't want to work with him then. Pazuzu's love. I'm sorry. I wouldn't want to work with Pazuzu then. Can't do it. Can't do it. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Be careful with that. Not trying to make you paranoid or nothing, but he can collect more than what he borrowed out. Sometimes he can be very evil. Mm-mm. I wouldn't be wanting to work with whatever that entity or deity is, because it seems like it's unstable. I gotta have stable deities. For years I worked with Lakshmi and Ganesha. For years I worked with Kali Ma. That's still my girl. Love me some Kali Ma. Love me some Lilith. As far as working, because none of those goddesses are gonna necessarily turn against you. But sometimes if it's meant for you to have a tower moment, sometimes it's meant for you to have a tower moment. If you're having a tower moment to where, you know, others, I think it depends. I think that all of our experiences happen for a reason. Okay. I think all of our experiences happen for a reason. And with that said, I just got word of a client. Hold on a second, guys. I got to do a reading for a client, y'all. So I have to go. Okay. I got to go do a reading, but I'll see y'all a little bit later. Okay. Try to be careful when, Try to be careful though when you're smoking marijuana and you're having these sort of paranoid thoughts. And I think that marijuana is supposed to help you maybe relax, especially some of the strains that you can choose. Like if you go to a dispensary, you can choose what you're getting. But I think that if all of a sudden these, demonic entities and these dark thoughts come to you, I think that that could be a spirit that seems to be coming to the surface, you know, coming off to other people as are trying to demonize another person, especially the people around you that love you, because some of y'all will smoke marijuana and the people around you that love you, all of them are horrible people. They've done something to you, they're going to do something to you, you can't trust them. They don't really love you even though they went through hell for you. I'm going to tell you something, a person that is willing to go through hell for you. Okay, a person that is willing to stick by you through your darkest hour, trust me, that person loves you on some level. You can't just say, "Oh, this person don't love me, or they out to get me, or they're trying to harm me," and this person took like literally spiritual attacks for you, like this person, sacrificed for you. If a person is sacrificing for you, man, stop letting things or entities tell you something different, because I've been hurt like that before. You know what I'm saying? Like I've been hurt like that. Like you'll stick your neck out, you'll sacrifice yourself, you'll sacrifice certain things, you'll make these sacrifices for these people, but they'll come back and accuse you of not loving them or not respecting them. No, I don't respect those demons that are around you. I don't respect the fact that you allow something else to convince you that a person that basically almost died for you, like y'all don't realize how, a person that's willing to literally dance with your demons and fight with your demons for you. Like, I'm sorry, you got to understand that that person must love you on some point, especially if it ain't about money. If that person ain't just trying to get something out of you, if that person is not, charging you anything, if they're not expecting anything in return, obviously this person just loves you and wants to make sure that you okay. Because when a person loves you, they want to know that you're okay, because if something was to happen to you, they're not going to be okay. They would probably be very sad if something happened to you. So that's why people want to look out for you, because they want to make sure that because if you okay, then they okay. So start appreciating the people that are in your life instead of those entities and spirits that are around you that are basically lying to you, making you even more paranoid and in these delusions. Okay, because the people around you that have been there for you, they deserve more than that. And I've noticed that. I've noticed that people have done that Like when I sometimes when I do readings for y'all men in y'all life, you can tell that, they're doing stuff because they feel that you have it out for them. And maybe it's that false ego that you're meant to destroy on them, because a false ego ain't worth nothing. That's worthless. Hey, seriously, this is something that is going to convince you that it's okay for you to be alone for an extended period of time. That's just like I'm a loner, but that don't mean that I want to sit up here and be alone for the rest of my life. And all I need is a blunt, and I'm just going to sit here and just be alone for the rest of my life. Like, that's not, your spirits are doing you a disservice if that's what they doing. You know what I'm saying? So just be careful with that. Yeah. Oh, Elizabeth Ramirez came in here. Okay, both are. Yeah. Well, maybe we'll talk about that later. Maybe we'll talk about that later. I gotta go right now because I have a reading to do. I gotta get to a client. So I'll see y'all later. Be careful with marijuana, and if you're gonna smoke it, make sure that you know what strain it is. Make sure that you're looking up other people's experiences of smoking that particular strain. Your where you get it from, they should know what strain it is. They should know what it is. They should not necessarily know. So, and just be careful with that, because I've seen people get all kind of messed up. Yeah, yeah. So anyway, I'll see y'all later. Have a wonderful Friday. Peace and love to y'all. Bye-bye.